So I've been listening to a bit of neural drum and bass recently by artists such as Imanu, Skantia, Buunshin and Mefjus. It's more modern and cleaner sound with an emphasis on precision sound design. I've been inspired by this stripped down version of neural drum and bass, so I wanted to challenge myself to create something like it. So today I'm going to show you guys how I would make some bass sounds in this particular style. Comment down below and let me know who are some of your favorite neural drum and bass artists. By the way, my name is Skantia, and if you want to improve your music production and sound design, especially with dance music and drum and bass, then this channel is for you. And if you want to see more videos like these, then make sure you hit the like button. It lets me know to make more videos like these. Also, follow me on Instagram and TikTok, where I'm providing additional exclusive content. Alright, without further ado, let's get right into it. So today's sounds are inspired by Skantia's remix of Imanu. So shouts out to you guys for the inspiration. You guys make some nasty sounds, so big up. Alright, so we're going to be designing this sound. Pretty grimy bass, and really it's two layers. There's the main grimy bass, and then there's that plucky stab on top, and I'm combining them both in an instrument rack. So we're gonna create them individually. I'll show you how to piece it together. So I'm aiming for a sound that has this sludgy, grimy grit to it. And the best waveform that I found was the ICANN has kick. I also found a crush wub worked nice with this. Essentially, you can experiment with many of these different wave tables. I just clued into the ICANN has kick one when I saw a Sub Focus video where he was using this. I thought that was a nice wave table. Now you have to increase the wave table position up to 12 o'clock, so you get those nice round harmonics. Let's send it to the filter, and we're going to be using one of the more interesting filter types here, the Comb HL6 Plus. Essentially, this has two filters built in. We're going to adjust the cutoff a little bit and increase the resonance to around 1 o'clock. Max out the drive. So now you're getting that gnarly nasal type bass sound. Increase this high-low wide knob. What it does is it increases the wideness of the comb filter. So that makes it sound more gritty. Let's go into the effects section, add more drive to it. So increase drive up about 50%. And that's pretty much for our serum. Everything else is going to be done with additional effects. By the way, you can download the presets in today's video all for free, down in the link below. So first and foremost, I have Native Instruments Supercharger, and I really like this plugin because it adds some natural analog sounding harmonics in terms of saturation. And I'm maxing out the saturation amount. Notice how gnarly that sounds. Then I have Ableton's amp plugin. I'm using this to drive it a little more. So the mids I'm going to bring all the way down. Let's increase the bass up to 10. And then just adjust the treble amount a little bit. Just add a little more grit to it. And now we're going to send it to a high-low split. So this is something I've given you guys in previous videos. It's an audio effects rack which splits the signal into two frequency bands. So you have the low band and a high band. So you got the highs and then the lows. Then on the high band, we're just going to adjust the EQ a little bit. We're going to shave off a lot of frequencies here. So I'm going to use a more gentle slope and then increase this up. So I'm removing all the mids and bottom end. I just want that grit. And then I'm going to use the low pass at the far right here and shave off some of the top frequencies so it's not so harsh. So around 5K works. And I'm just applying some duck to the high end just to add a bit of an attack to that grit. It just gives it a little more character. And then going back into the high-low split, I'm going to reduce the gain of the high frequencies. I'm going to just bring it down to around -9 dB. So it's just tucked in there. And that's pretty much the grimy bass. It's pretty simple. Alright, now on to that pluck sound that gives it more character. So let's find a wavetable that sounds a little more full for some character. And I'm going to use one of the vowel wavetables, Sam Serum. And we're going to adjust the octave up by 2 and semitone to +7 for that perfect fifth. And then oscillator B is set to a sine wave. And we're going to set this to 3 octaves up. And again, that perfect fifth. Enable the filter, ascend both oscillators to the filter, bring the cutoff down. Then let's assign LFO 1 to the levels of both oscillator A, B, as well as the cutoff. And just bring the level down. Adjust the cutoff and amount. Then we're going to have to play with the LFO 1 to create more of a pluck shape. So to do that, we're going to bring this point over. We're going to add some sustain at the top of this LFO, so a straight line like this. And then just adjust the decay and attack accordingly so it sounds like a pluck. Now we want the rate at 1/16 for that fast kind of neural sound. Now one thing I missed is we have to increase the unison mode of oscillator A for some wideness. So bring it up to +7. Adjust the detune a bit. Let's go into the effects section, add some distortion. That's sounding more like it. Enable a secondary filter and then high pass the bottom end. Tighten up the shape of that LFO so it's more plucky. And then you can adjust the shape to your liking depending on how you want your pluck to sound. You can have a shorter sustain by adjusting this point. See, the longer the sustain, the bigger the pluck sounds. I just like adding a bit of space here. It just gives the sound a little more funk. Let's add some reverb for some spice. So we can adjust the settings in Serum to make this a little more nasty and bring us a more timbre. So a quick way to do this is to explore different wavetable positions. Notice how nasty that sounds now. And that's the sound we want. Alright, now you can play these two as individual instruments in sync by playing the same note, but I like to do it a little more elegantly by combining them both in an instrument rack so you can play as one instrument. So we're going to create an instrument rack. So go back to the grimy bass sound. Select the entire device chain by clicking the first instrument, holding shift, and then clicking on the last instrument. And then right click, and we're going to group this. So now it's grouped into an instrument rack. So you can hide this section. Also, you could show what's in the instrument rack. So right now it's just one instrument. Let's name this Grimy. And then go back to the pluck sound. And once again, select the entire chain, copy it. So Control or Command C. And then go back to the Grimy instrument rack. Click on this section here where it says drop an instrument or sample and then paste it. So now the pluck sound has been placed as a second layer in this instrument rack, and we can rename this as pluck. Now when we play this grimy bass step, it plays together. With the beauty of having all in one instrument rack is then you can process it as one signal, so it sounds more cohesive. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding a bus compressor on the entire instrument rack. Just adding a bit of compression to make this sound more cohesive. If you're feeling adventurous, you can apply some multi-band distortion on top of this. Who knows what will happen. Raise a lighter if you're feeling adventurous. So that sounded pretty grimy. Thermal's adding some extra grit to this. As you can see, it's super fun. Endless possibilities. Now that could be a blessing or a curse because you may not know when to stop. And that's one of the main skills of music production is drawing a line and knowing when is good enough. Here's a bit of gain staging so you can hear the before and after without thermal. Bit nastier. And then I just have this quick sequence here. I have some drums. And here's a wub stab from my gnarly serum pack. And then I have this foghorn sound that comes in. And I'm using the foghorn grime preset from my gnarly serum pack. I just modulated a little bit by changing the wavetable to crush wub and then adjusted the envelopes a little bit. And we have this line here. Gnarly contains 190 face-melting serum presets for bass music and drum and bass. If you're interested, check it out in the link above and below. And then here's the main bass, just playing one long E note for 2 bars. And then that foghorn fills the space there. So let's hear it in totality. Alright, so that's pretty much the idea I came up with. And once again, big up to Skantia and Imanu for the inspiration. You guys make some nasty sounds, so big up. So after spending some time in the studio playing with this track, I played with some other waveforms. Well, I do like the I Can Has kick. However, if you want a more typical sound, closer to what Imanu uses, then you can use a sawtooth. So that sounds a little more nasal. And then I mapped the volume of this wavetable to an LFO to give it a pumping kind of sound. And then I went back into the pluck. I wanted the pluck to sound a little bit tighter. So I shortened the sustain here. I also extended it to a 4-bar phrase with the foghorn coming on the 4th bar. So this is what we have. And let me know down in the comments, what did you think and how did I do? Were you feeling the NEURO style that I was going for? Alright, so this is my take on the modern NEURO drum and bass sound. Let me know down in the comments, how did I do? I enjoy working in this style because it pushes your boundaries in sound design and you learn new process and techniques from doing this. For example, creating a multi-layered instrument can be a useful technique and you can create some rich bass and soundscapes with this technique. Remember, if you want to support me, you can grab my gnarly serum preset pack. I also have a number of Ableton project files to jumpstart your next idea. But if you're not ready yet, you can pick up my free serum preset pack as well as my free sample pack. Alright, that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. keep practicing, and I'll see you at the next video.